Imagine a world without cell phones, a world without the internet, a world devoid of any form of communication technology. Impossible, right? Now that we have established that communication technology is indispensable, it is important to understand the technology that supports telecommunication. One such company that continues to provide third-party support to multiple telecom companies is global group enterprise called Gtl Infrastructure Limited.
Gtl Infrastructure's parent company, Gtl, has been in existence for last about 30 years. Since beginning of cellular infrastructure services in India, Gtl was working with almost all the operators to build, maintain, to plan their networks since 1995. We were called as EPC contractors, O&M providers for all the services that telecom operators requires for its life cycle. Gtl Infrastructure is essentially telecom infrastructure sharing company. We provide passive infrastructure to all the telecom operators in India to house their equipment at our premises.
The Indian telecom industry is one of the fastest growing and perhaps the most competitive in the world, with its tariff being among the lowest in the world. This gave Global Group an opportunity to tap into an uncharted territory in the telecommunication business.
In 2002 onwards, when the prices of GSM services started going down, we felt there was an opportunity. The opportunity was to provide infrastructure in rural India, on highways, on low-scale cities, and also some bit in major cities, to provide infrastructure, passive infrastructure especially, and maintain it over a period of time, which operators can then come and share like plug and play. As we grew, this business became our primary business. Over a period of time, when we started in 2002-2003, this business was done little bit in Gtl, but in 2005-2006, we split open our companies and created Gtl Infrastructure, which then had about 800-900 sites.
With a portfolio of about 3 lakh towers along the length and breadth of the country, Gtl Infrastructure Limited is a leading player in the business of shared passive telecom infrastructure in India.
We provision space for telecom operators. For this, the telecom operators pay an infra provisioning fee, which is a monthly fee or rental, to us as a provisioning fee. Along with this, we also have to ensure, as a tower company, uninterrupted power supply. Historically, there have been battery banks which still continue. There have been DG sets, as and when the battery drains out, you have DG sets which ensure supply of electricity for the active equipment to keep humming and radiating, and that's how you get connected to the cell site.
Being the first point of contact for consumers, a company like Gtl Infrastructure plays an essential role as the backbone that supports Digital India by bringing in connectivity at affordable prices to the poorest of poor, thereby creating a positive impact on the Indian economy.
Cell site has both the active equipment which has been installed by the telcos or the operators, and the passive infrastructure. There are two types of telecom towers: ground-based towers, which are installed on the ground and give the requisite height to an operator to install his antennas. And second are rooftop towers. In urban areas, you have natural height given by buildings or any other structures. So smaller towers installed on top are rooftop towers. These towers are passive infrastructure.
Gtl Infrastructure was always focused from the beginning in providing passive infrastructure at the rural side. What happens at rural site is that traffic is less and the ability of one operator to pay for its costs are much lesser than what they could be in city. So as a strategy, we moved into rural areas, though we took a little bit of capital risk at that point of time. But we provided this infrastructure to most of the operators. So currently, at about a third of our infrastructure, we are in rural areas. We have tenancy of about 2.5, 3, which means at least 3 or 4 operators are able to beam their signals and provide these services, provide access to digital networks to this rural area through our infrastructure. That's how we think we are key in providing backbone to digital India concepts in India.
The company's business model is based on building, owning, operating and maintaining the passive telecom infrastructure sites which are capable of hosting multiple service providers. The model enables the operator to convert their capital expenditure to a fixed and predictable operational expenditure, allowing them to divert precious capital towards core activities. Almost 2 hours from GTL Infrastructure's headquarters is its Network Operations Center that maintains a 24/7 check on all network activities on GTL's whopping 30,000 towers.
The network service providers, the mobile service providers, want to have their network up and running on a 24/7 basis. So through this Network Operations Center, we ensure that these networks, which provide services to all the mobile users, is being available and monitored 24/7, and we go back to them with any such kind of issues and problems as and when it arises. So in nutshell, basically, it's a very strong backbone to ensure that the availability and uptime of a network is maintained.
GTL Infrastructure's Nerve Center at Pune houses the best-in-class networking systems that power its remote network management services.
So here we have deployed a best-in-class technology architecture, which comprises of the high-end IBM Blade servers with a virtualization facility. We have also deployed the high-end Cisco switching and routing equipments, along with the essential security architecture, because that is also very important when you provide a best-in-class services. Besides that, if you actually see the infrastructure, it is quite resilient and it is quite scalable. It is quite flexible because the customer needs keeps changing. So we as a service provider should be in a position to respond in a quickest possible time to ensure that either there is a upgradation of certain services or the number of people who operate from here can be put into different shift structure. So that kind of a flexibility we can offer. By virtue of the best-in-class technology architecture what we have, the entire center can perform at a extremely high available and a performing level.
Supported by this world-class setup, the NOC offers a large bouquet of services to GTL Infrastructure's telecom partners pan-India.
See, the core services from Network Operations Center revolves around providing real-time network surveillance and monitoring for the various operators which are consuming these services. It also offers the fault management. It also takes care of the performance management. It also offers services like preventive maintenance management. It also takes care of the vendor coordination and a third-party escalations. And also we can provide managed BCP and disaster recovery services.
Its team of 270 engineers work round the clock in shifts, monitoring more than 5 lakh alarms and generating as many as 9,000 tickets across telecom circles on any given day.
NOC works 24/7. So there are different shifts. The people come in based on the requirement, and the team here is actually organized as per the respective circle which are required by the monitoring purpose. So the team here monitors, the individual in that team monitors the network 24/7, and based on the alarm category, we convert that into a specific fault or a specific problem which has been registered in the ticketing tool. We use world-class tool called Remedy. Once the ticket is opened in the Remedy system, it automatically dispatches the SMS alert to the respective technician, and the technician, when he receives that, it confirms back to the Network Operations Center that he is now moving to that respective site for taking care of the issue, and in a timely manner. He ensures that the site is restored and that is confirmed back to the NOC. That's how we can close the respective ticket.
With cities getting smarter and the number of users already at its peak, GTL's Network Operations Center is prepared to scale up its operations whenever the need arises.
Today, when we are monitoring remotely the functioning of a diesel generator, or we are monitoring the functioning of a air conditioning equipment, why it is so? Because they are digitally enabled. So the same Network Operations Center can take care of Internet of the Things, and moving on, it can actually touch your and my life on a daily basis, because now we are talking about smarter cities and smarter homes, because telecom essentially would play a very key role as an enabling platform because of the network connectivity or a mobile connectivity which will be available at every town and city.
Telecom towers form the backbone of wireless networks and provide last-mile connectivity to subscribers. This segment of the telecom sector has witnessed rapid growth thanks to Gtl Infrastructure's pioneering role in shaping the industry.
As we grew till 2008, we reached 6,000, 7,000 infrastructure sites all across India. But then we felt that size in this business and availability of infrastructure would mean we could talk to our customers at a larger scope. So we then bought Aircel's about 17,500 sites at about 8,000 crores in those days, which was the major move from us, and we became then about 30,000 sites pan-India infrastructure player, which we are trying to now improve. The basic job now is to make it more efficient, improve uptime of the network, and bringing more customers there so that the whole project is more successful, more financially viable than it was before.
Despite the telecom sector suffering several setbacks in the last few years, Gtl Infrastructure has managed to carve a niche for itself and is the first telecom tower company to get listed on the Indian Stock Exchange, making it the leading independent telecom tower company in India. And according to its CEO, the future outlook is positive for the telecom tower business.
The telecom sector has gone through turbulent times in the last 3 years due to various factors like the 2G scam, the license cancellation, as well as general negative sentiments in the capital markets. Tower companies, as you know, are largely dependent on telcos or operators for their tenancies, i.e. revenue. During the recent spectrum auction of March 2015, most of the telcos or operators managed to hold on to their turf. They retained their existing spectrum, which were due to expire. They have also won new spectrum in higher frequencies. Post the auction, the telcos have aggressive rollout plans, not just in the current 2G voice network, but some of the operators have very aggressive plans for rolling out both 3G as well as LTE or 4G networks pan-India. This is good news for us at Gtl Infrastructure.
This positive outlook is based on the growth drivers that could potentially open up distinct opportunities for Gtl Infrastructure Limited and other players in the telecom towers business.
There are 5 main growth drivers for Gtl Infrastructure this year and for the subsequent 2 or 3 years. Number 1, growth in data coupled with the drop in smartphone prices. This, according to me, means a large number of tenancies for Gtl Infrastructure. Second growth driver would be launch or rollout of LTE and 4G networks by leading operators like Reliance Jio and Airtel. They have already done pre-launch work. Rollout has happened partial, few phases are still left. Third growth driver would be auctioning of higher frequencies and the subsequent rollout networks which are being planned with those frequencies. These trigger again a large number of tendencies for Gtl infrastructure for the next couple of years. The fourth growth driver would be expansion, upgradation and improvement of the current voice or 2G network to improve the quality of service, which means new cell sites on the ground, which include cell sites. So, company like ours, Gtl Infrastructure, will directly benefit from these upgradation. And lastly, expected launch of services by ISPs, which some of the ISPs are expected to launch the services this year. And these are all distinct possibilities given the fact that Government of India's backing to Digital India.
While the growth of the telecom industry has also raised environmental concerns, Gtl Infrastructure makes it a point to support measures laid down by the Department of Telecommunications.
As Gtl Infrastructure, we have carried out quite a few initiatives in the recent past. We have increased or enhanced battery backup in a number of sites in our portfolio to ensure these sites move to diesel-free sites, and therefore we have enhanced the number of diesel-free sites in our portfolio. We have also aggressively connected those sites which did not have EB with grid connectivity. Further, wherever possible, we have started replacing air conditioners which go onto the shelters with free cooling units. This again is a step to reduce energy consumption as well as reduction in carbon footprint.
Besides being conscious towards the environment, corporate social responsibility at Global Group has been institutionalized as a way of life, facilitating through the Global Foundation.
We've established a foundation way back in 2004 called the Global Foundation. So the focus areas that we work on is education, health, disability and community development. As far as education is concerned, provide scholarship to school kids. So we've given about 1,400 scholarships this year. But the most interesting program that really excites me is what we call the Education for Peace program. We empower teachers through a competency-based framework on imparting value education to kids. So as per NCRT, they had identified 84 values that kids need to be imbibed with from class 1 to 8. And what we've done is, based on those 84 values, we've created a framework for teacher training. And we've now reached out to almost about 56 schools between Ratnagiri, that's Sindhudurg district, Aurangabad and Mumbai. We call our employee volunteers as positrons, people who emit positive, kind of electrons. And the positrons basically help us with identifying the children for scholarships, so they recommend students. I think the biggest role that our employees also engage with is through our payroll giving program. So we have a payroll giving program internally where employees do contribute a part of their salaries towards the Global Foundation.
2 hours from Mumbai, a village in Alibag is witnessing tangible social transformations as part of Gtl Infrastructure's CSR efforts.
So what we're doing in Alibag is we revamped the ground floor of a school that was left incomplete. There were no toilets, the flooring was not done, there were no lights, fans in the school. So we kind of renovated the ground floor. And now what we're doing is we're now rebuilding the first floor for them, because the primary section was very small, and the local authorities, the Sarpanch and all, approached us to help them with rebuilding the school. So we're building a school there, and then part of the Honorable Prime Minister's Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, we've started to build toilets in schools.
यहाँ पे छोटा मोटा शोषित 4 स्टैंडर्ड तक स्कूल की ज़रूरत थी। स्कूल के लिए इमारत की ज़रूरत थी। ग्लोबल फाउंडेशन के तरफ से 1 साल के अंदर हमें अच्छा सा स्कूल बना के दिया, जिसमें टॉयलेट और बाजू की सब सुविधाएं, जिससे बच्चों को अच्छा एक एजुकेशन मिलेगा। और अभी मिल सकता है। ग्लोबल फाउंडेशन स्कूल के अलावा गांव में जो वृक्षारोपण होता है, पानी की समस्या है, इसमें भी गांव को अच्छी सहायता मिलती है उनके साथ से। अभी हम उसके वजह से इमारत होने के कारण हम सेमी इंग्लिश निकल पाए और उससे अच्छा गांव के बच्चे लोग इंग्लिश उनका इम्प्रूव हो जाएगा और अच्छा इम्प्रूव होने के बाद आज तो इंग्लिश की ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है। वो बॉम्बे जाके पूना जाके उनको अच्छी नौकरी सर्विस मिल सकती है और गाँव के लिए भी उसका ज़्यादातर फ़ायदा हो जाएगा।
From being EPC contractors to market leaders in under a decade, GTL Infrastructure's phenomenal rise can be attributed to one instrumental factor.
But this great ability of retaining its people over decades of time. I personally myself have worked for about 2 decades in this company. If you look at Gtl Infrastructure current management team, Milind Naik who heads that, or Milind Bengali, L.Y. Desai, Bhupen Kini, Ashutosh Chandatre, all these people have worked in the group for more than 2 decades. The advantage that we have with this team is that since they have the entire background of how this company was developed, they find it very easy to negotiate with customers, to talk to customers with confidence in terms of what they can deliver and how they can deliver. And customers also appreciate their forthcomingness or their ability to perform on the site.
People get a chance to grow from within. So there is a lot of lateral movement, there's a lot of training, there's a lot of mentoring that happens in this place. So if you see when I joined in '92, I joined at a very entry level. But when I really left them 13 years later in 2005, I was already senior vice president. But what drew me back again was the same culture. You know, we have such a great culture of employee mentoring, nurturing, growing them from within. So that's what drew me back to come back here. So I think while you know, we've gone through a lot of hard times, there are a lot of good things that are also very internal and intrinsic to this company.
As they march into the future, GTL Infrastructure aims to be the world's most efficient and environment-friendly tower company.